welcome back to Impulse Plays. I'm here with the one and only Crazy Carl Winter. How's it going, Carl?
It's going great. Most active moderator on the pre-modern Discord, Andy Culpepper.
That is me, Andy Culpepper here, and we're gonna dive into Control Mirror here.
Yes, we have
Interesting
a sweet one. Yeah,
matchup.
not something you see terribly often. We have blue-black control versus Landstill, and Landstill's pretty straightforward. We'll pull that list up now. I guess this isn't really a very straightforward Landstill list, not from like the card choices, but from the versions of the cards. I guess we should say.
Yeah, this is Ben's epic Landstill deck. If you've been a fan of the channel, you've probably seen this in action before, but it's just one of the sweetest looking decks around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Saw it got it all baited out, foiled out, everything, old versions.
Yep.
Just
Eventually, I
amazing.
will. Eventually, I will convince him to switch over to foil seventh at Darker Waste. But there's nothing wrong with the Ice Age ones. I've backed off on that a little bit. But uh,
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for the OG.
no doubt, no doubt. I like the onslaught land synergies with the Decree of Justices. It helps you get more soldiers out. I think you get an extra one if you have an onslaught land in play, which is pretty good.
Pretty
Um,
pretty broken.
as for the deck construction, it seems pretty straightforward. I know that Ben went back and forth in these arcane labs for a while. They're pretty
Mm.
sweet against Dreadnoughts, no?
Yeah, they're good against dreadnoughts, good against random combo decks that you face, your storms and your whatever. Also pretty good against burn, actually. I don't know if he would bring them in against burn. He has some other decent options too, but can
Hmm,
be nice against burn. Also elves
true.
too.
Yeah,
I've beaten elves off an arcane lab, so
yeah, play
pretty
Arcane
versatile
Lab, then play
card.
Wrath of God, and then they just do nothing for the rest of the game. Yeah, that seems pretty
Yeah,
strong.
yeah. It's kind of like a standstill, except even more of a lock because you
Mm-hmm.
can still cycle through it and all that kind of thing. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, in this control mirror, I don't know that he has a whole lot to side in. I guess Phyrexian Furnace is pretty good, as we will see against some of the cards in my blue-black deck. But beyond that, maybe Meddling Mage, but it seems kind of loose. But we'll see when we look at the blue-black deck. But he doesn't have a lot to bring in a control mirror. But I don't think you need it that much with the Landstill deck. Your entire deck is like super control, so
yeah. Basically, yeah. I mean, he's got how many Dust Bowl?
two, which is not very good
Well, I
against my
guess
blue-black
your
deck.
deck
Yeah.
your deck doesn't play any non-basic. Oh,
Which we yeah we'll get
yeah,
into that. Yeah, so we've got my blue black deck,
yeah.
which I is very heavily influenced by a list Flippy posted months ago. I took out a bunch of cards I didn't like and tossed in some impulses and more duresses, and here we were. um yeah, no basics. It's a back to basics control deck, which probably should have a third one. I don't know. um Looking at the list, it's got a lot of card selection. My favorite thing is Probe. I love Probe. I used to play it back in
Mm.
Type 2 a long time ago. um
Yeah.
People always laugh at it like, oh yeah, that's kind of sweet, pretty cool, but like in practice it's really good because against control decks you discard your removal to it to, like, you filter your cards, and then against
Mm.
aggro decks you can discard like your counter spells, your duresses, whatever, and get removal off of it, which is, I mean, 3 mana is not nothing, but um it's pretty good. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Sure, yeah, it's sweet, yeah. And then it's 5 mana to kick,
Yeah, it's
and
it's
then
3 mana
it
base,
becomes
draw 3, discard 2, and then black and 1, kick it, target player discards 2, which I have had that misdirected at me before, and it is not very polite.
damn.
Yeah, it feels pretty bad.
You're also playing a copy of Misdirection, so you could misdirect it back at them, I guess.
Yes, now I can. I think it might have been Rich Shea who misdirected it at me, and that prompted me to put misdirection on my deck. So thanks, Rich. I
Nice.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, let's get into this match.
A lot of spicy one-ups going on here, I
There
like
are,
it.
and it's a flippy special. So it looks like I think we both kept, which is not terribly uncommon for these impulse control decks. They've got pretty good
Sure.
consistency.
Yeah,
Um,
as long as you have lands, you're probably good in this
right,
kind of matchup.
right. And I think we're both playing on 24, 25, which is not a ton, but pretty good. I think actually Lance only played 26.
Mm,
I mean, we're
usually does, yeah.
yeah, hitting land drops right away. No duress out of the blue black deck, which is probably fine. I think you may want to use it later on to force through spells as opposed to
Yeah,
like disrupting
might want to
early.
save it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That card
All
selection
right,
for Ben.
Impulse.
Yep.
Impulse crew.
Yep. This furnace is not. I don't think it's super relevant against Ben like at all, right?
No, you're
Yeah.
probably just gonna want to cycle it. I don't think there's really any graveyard synergy
I don't have a lot of faith in
in the
myself to
Landstill
remember to
deck.
cycle it, but we'll see if I get there. Okay, this is
There's
the nope. I
standstill.
forgot to cycle it.
Okay.
Bad play. Bad play. Yeah, no,
I
Ben's on
mean,
the
yeah,
standard land still standstill into missions factory. It's pretty good.
pretty good. Yeah, at this point you might just end up discarding, so you probably don't want to cycle it until you're actually low on cards in hand,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps.
Yep. Okay, so I trigger a
All right, so you take out
standstill.
the factory,
Try attempt to anyway.
or try to. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a mana leak coming in, which I'm okay with trading a smother for a mana leak.
Okay, looks like you're gonna counter back.
Yeah, I have a ghastly demise in my hand, um,
Oh, okay,
which is a really sweet card, really really good.
definitely.
And it's also not going to do literally anything else in this match. Like if I can trade removal spells for counter spells and then actually kill a land with removal spells, I am thrilled.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so your end game is gonna look like either getting a infiltrator to stick or
Mm-hmm.
a more morphling, I guess, would be
Yeah, I
pretty
think the
sweet.
Morphling is probably the most likely thing. Really, the biggest threat is probably this Rainbow of Freak because of phasing. Like, short of Humility getting into play, like, Landstill does nothing against that card. Ooh, and I
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
pick
so
the
you got him with the
probe.
probe.
Yep.
Made
That
him
said,
tap out on his turn.
yeah, but he's just going to discard, like, some removal spells, like a couple plows or something. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Although, I guess his
Sure.
plows are not dead cards in this matchup, right? Like, he can kill my entire
Yeah,
draw engine.
yeah, yeah. No, everything counts.
Mm-hmm. Another factory. Pretty good. Double signed by the Foglios at Eternal Weekend last year.
Very nice.
Yeah, they were wonderful people. I enjoyed shoveling money at them. All right, Finkel comes out, and
Go for a Finkel.
Ben goes for the. I like the play of the absorb. Use the 3 mana counterspell as soon as you can to keep
Yep.
your mana efficient counterspell later on.
Yeah, it's
And
always funny casting absorb when the life doesn't actually matter. You just have a
yeah,
eight.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Seriously.
still a counter spell even if you don't care about the life.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of do. I mean, obviously not like as much as you against like burn, but it
Yeah.
can buy you a
Right.
turn against
Right.
like a morphling or something to draw Wrath of God. So it's not like completely
Yeah. Yeah.
inconsequential. But yeah, it's not why you play the
No,
card
it's
against control for
right.
sure.
Right.
Impulse Drew, let's go. All right, got impulse from both
Go.
players. Didn't see what
All
I
right. You're both
took.
on the board.
If I'm really clever, I'll put up an impulse count above each player's board, which I've learned how to do. I've had a lot of fun editing videos, and it's been great. So it looks like I've got some creatures in
Sweet.
hand, some counter spells, a factor fiction, and that's about it. So not a lot to make things difficult for
All
Ben.
right. Looks like Ben is fetching end step, so it's gonna be a Fa or a decree, maybe.
I think we're gonna see Decree. I haven't seen his hand, but that just seems like a thing Landstill would want to do at this point in the game, you know?
Yeah. 3 tokens is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's it. I do have a main deck Engineer Plague in this blue-black deck. Yep, there's the Decree. Makes 3 tokens. Doesn't even wait to
Nice.
see if I'm gonna stifle it. Okay, and then I take the opportunity when
All
it's
right.
tapped out to Factor Fiction. Okay.
Seems good.
Oh, there's the aforementioned Engineer Plague.
All right.
So I think looking at this Factor Fiction, I think you have to put Plague and Rainbow Freak in different piles, right? They're both very dangerous
I
cards
would
too.
think so. Yeah, it depends on what kind of counter spells he has in hand, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Ooh, this is a good split. I don't I don't know. I
Hmm.
love Duress, and it's got a sweet stamp on it, so that's probably a good mark in its
Yeah,
favor.
the rest is so good in these control mirrors, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. But there's 3 cards in the other pile. Okay, so I
No,
go for the
lands,
Duress
right?
pile. Yep, I know, and
Okay.
lands. Okay, I'm resolving my graveyard correctly. And Ben gets do a full untap while I still have counterspell man open. That's not nothing. But like, what could he resolve here that I really care about? I think it's just humility, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. He probably wants to leave up. Okay, so he's coming in with the factory too, so
Yeah, he's in the beat down here for
he's
sure.
going aggro. He does have some counter spells up
Counter
potentially.
spells the
Okay,
duress. Okay. Ooh, double duress.
nice.
Unfortunately, not double
Like,
stamped. There's the humility I was talking
wow.
about. That is not
So
a
that's
strong
just
hand.
disenchant. That's another decree, right?
Yeah, that's another decree. Yep, which I take. Leaving with
Yeah,
humility,
it's
wrath
definitely
of
the best
God,
card in the hand.
disenchants. It's a blooded token.
Innocent blood.
Let's
Okay.
go, Value Town.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's not getting any
Yeah, I guess
better, right?
you don't want to go for the Ifrit until you have mana to protect it, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. especially versus the Wrath of God. The Wrath of God's really the only thing I care about. Like I need to keep a counter spell for that
Yeah.
humility, and that does not get through, which is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Humility basically shuts my deck off until I draw Capsize, which I think this version had. Yeah.
Okay. He is chipping down your life total though. You're down to 9 at this
Yep, it is
point.
a not in a inconsequential amount of damage for sure. But I mean, I got a Psychotog, I got a Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Those are not
Yeah.
irrelevant cards.
Yeah, I like your spot here.
Yeah, it's something for newer players to realize is that, life total doesn't matter as much in these control mirrors as it does card quality and quantity. But we're pretty even
Mm-hmm.
on quantity. We're pretty even on quality, and depends ahead in life. So I have to give him the advantage here.
Yeah. I think the Psychotog is gonna be a real nice blocker.
Mm-hmm. I phase out the Rainbow Freet. Rainbow Freet's able to phase out for 2 blue mana as instants, which is pretty sweet. Dust Bowl does
No
stone cold nothing.
no damage on the stack, unfortunately, so both
Nope.
the soldiers live.
Tragically. We come into eights. And Finkel comes out. Ooh, nice Factor
Oh,
Fiction.
it's a good
And it
good draw.
resolves. That is hot diggity.
So it doesn't have the mana to kick the prohibit, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. How would you split this up? So it looks like we're doing draw versus
Is
interaction.
that double impulse in that pile or
Yeah. Clearly the more powerful
yeah.
pile, but
I mean he's letting you go for like the running up the scoreboard on the impulses, I guess.
He's gonna win the impulse. Yeah, he's gonna get the impulse count for sure. This is not even gonna be a contest. Not even gonna bother putting the counter up there because it's just not even close. Impulses. Ben has this great habit of like taking his card and then like very clearly indicating that's the card he took from impulse and then putting his cards in the bottom. I that is it. That is the thing I
Oh
admire.
yeah.
Good job, Ben. Good job.
Hmm.
Yep, there it is, right there. That is the card he takes and puts the rest in the bottom. That said, he
Nice.
did not show
Very
us what it
good.
was, which is a little bit rude, but
Yeah. All right. Shadow Mage is in.
Shadow Mage blocks a lot of things on this board.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be no, it can be blocked by a factory, so
It
that's
very much
something.
can, and it can be killed if the factory does not have summoning sickness, because the factory can tap to
That's
get itself
true, yeah.
+1/+1, and Shadow Mage Infiltrator only has 3 toughness, which is, equal to 3. So, per the rules of the game, a vicious factory that is a 3/3 will kill it. As much as I don't want to see it. Yeah, he's gonna Wrath this turn. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Ooh, he had the plow for the Rainbow Freet. That's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So I
Huh.
kill one of them. I mean, I'm trading two. No,
Interesting, yeah.
it's two. He's getting
I feel like I
two.
would
I don't know. Yeah,
feel like I would wrath
he
there,
didn't
but
wrath.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Ooh,
Yeah.
dress number 3. Well, I'm gonna win this dress count. That's for sure.
The rest crew.
Yep. All right. Ben has the other plow for the thing. All right.
Okay. Wow.
I'm playing. Ooh, slamming the back to basics. I don't think he has any non-basics tap. That's gonna really limit his options going forward.
Yeah,
Um,
that's gonna
he has a
hurt the
Dust Bowl off
factory game for
camera.
sure.
Yeah, it's like legit half of his mana.
So he's gonna dig for a disenchant here, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, he's played one. I think the other one was discarded to probe possibly. Oh no, he
Mm.
impulse in response to
Oh, okay,
counterspell.
that's on the stack. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that
I'm okay
works.
with that trade too, though. Like,
Yeah, that's interesting. So he really valued keeping that soldier in play just to keep chipping away at the life total, I
mm-hmm,
guess, and
mm-hmm.
opting to use 2 swords instead of the wrath.
Yep. All right, move myself up on the impulse ladder. Ooh, I see a morphling, a probe. Looks like I took probe. That breaks my heart a little bit.
Hmm.
But Ben is sitting on 2 cards. Like
Just
I get to mind twist him
yeah,
and ancestral recall. Like,
that's too perfect. You just love
yeah,
drafting that card, I can tell.
yep, all about it, all about it.
Just fill in the graveyard for that Yawgmoth's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the deck?
It sure is. It sure is.
Very nice.
Love that card.
All
What
right,
am I?
Psychotog, that's a brick wall.
Yep, that's gonna be pretty good.
It's a lot of cards in the graveyard.
Yep, yep. Should that young one show up, it will be quite good. But yeah, that Psychotog is not only a strong blocker, but you know its pump ability with discarding and exiling cards in the graveyard is a legitimate threat for ending the game. So I think Ben has played like
Mm-hmm.
3 Swords of Plashes at this point, so he does not have a lot of removal left for this Psychotog.
That's true.
And he's looking at an Impulse. I think he's got the full 4 played there. And he did not have a lot of good options there. I think he took like a Mishra's Factory or something.
Hmm. Yeah, he really needs to find another decree, I guess, to push through damage. Okay,
Ooh,
standstill.
that is
That's that's an interesting one because you could kind of think of it as him being behind on board right now if you think
exactly,
long
yeah.
term.
Yeah. That said, I mean, longer term, his deck is obviously designed to operate underneath that standstill with the Decree of Justice
Yeah,
and
if he
the
does
Mishra's
hit the
Factories.
decree, yeah.
And I go for the counterspell. I don't agree with Pascal here, I don't think. I think that standstill's
Hmm.
fine.
Let it resolve.
Yeah.
How many decrees does he have left in his deck? Two
One, I
or
think.
one or
One.
two?
Yeah,
Okay, just
he
one.
cycled one, discarded one to duress, so he's got one
That's
left.
right. Okay, yeah.
And I've got a Diabolic to kill the soldier token. Okay. Sure, why not, you
Nice.
know? Alright, so yeah, I guess I have to cast it because I got the standstill. Sicken as a 1 mana aura.
Oh yeah, I was
Gives a
wondering what
creature
that was.
-1,
Yeah.
-1, cycles for 2 mana. Also known as it kills Goblin Lackey and a bunch of elves. Or cycles when it's useless. Drew my counterspell, cracked in for 1.
So did he counter back on the standstill? Because that's
He did, yeah.
so it
He had a
resolved.
mana leak, yeah. He had a mana leak for
So
it.
that should have been cracked. Oh, so you edicted in response to the
Yeah, Edict in
standstill. Okay.
response, yeah. And then the
Okay.
cycling is
Gotcha.
notably, yeah, for the folks not sure.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
cycling is notably not a spell, it's an ability, so
Right.
does not trigger the standstill.
All right. So you're gonna poke in with the Tog.
Yep, gets in. Oh, he's got another factory.
Okay.
2 factories is not easy to deal with for me. Okay, so okay, so
Yeah, I'm not
I did
sure
not
what the Psychotog math is here exactly with
presumably it would
the
be
number of
lethal.
cards in
Yeah,
graveyard.
Ben has no cards in hand, and
Guessing
he
it's
did not let that go through, so
gonna
I'm
be
guessing it was
fairly
lethal.
close if you get a couple of cards in your hand.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I've got a pretty stacked graveyard going. Thompson, yeah, he's basically just, eating up some of the Toggy Chow. Yeah, so the second hog I think is has been lethal for a bit, and Ben was using
Oh,
his
okay.
Mishra's Factories to
To, to jump it basically.
damage. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like I'm going for the kill, assuming he doesn't have Mishra's Sword Splashers. Yeah.
All right,
Going
got there.
yeah, going into game 2. We don't have sideboards. I think we tend to reveal our sideboards after the match. Ben
Mm-hmm.
Mulligans. So he's down to 6. Which is fine for Landstill. I mean, you just, you pop a standstill and you're back in the game, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Just looking for lands mostly, probably.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, that is. I mean, the old control mirror motto is play lands and then don't be the first to discard.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ooh, I've got a
Yeah, keep
Saba's
a
Web.
7-lander.
Ooh, yeah, no doubt. Saba's Web not great
Green.
against his current board, but it's gonna be very good later on.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
But he does have a duress or a disenchant. Okay, that's fine. I mean, Saba's Web when it enters the battlefield to get a card anyway, so like
Yeah, that's a 2-for-1.
looks like I'm holding up a null for the potential standstill. I think I see a Morphling in there, another duress. Downside of this blue-black deck is not playing any dual lands means that you're very limited on your colors. Very, very
Mm-hmm.
limited.
Yeah, it's a little harder to like do something like duress into Psychotog or something like that.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for
But
sure.
I think what we're seeing here is that duress and probe kind of win the control mirror.
They are very good against it, yeah. They are very, very good. I think you take the impulse, right? Like, oh no, take a null, because I want to try and land the Sabo's Web. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
I'm less happy to have him annul it.
Yeah.
Much more happy to have him disenchant it.
Sure. Totally. Yeah.
So it resolves, he gets his disenchant off, and then does not go for. Oh, yeah,
All
he
right.
retaps his mana a little bit differently, so he can
Okay.
impulse. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
So he has kept in some number of swords at least. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the
With the
blue black
Finkles and everything.
exactly. Yeah, Finkel, Tog. Like, there's it's only good against
Yeah,
4 cards, but those 4 cards are very impactful.
definitely.
clearly indicating the card he's taking from Impulse. Love to see it. Which I think might have been Fact or Fiction. I did not get a good look at it.
That's a good one.
It is very strong. It is very strong. So he's sitting on 3 cards. I just
Yeah.
pass. Okay. No, we're just gonna trade land drops, I think, for a little bit. I do have a Rainbow of Freet, which it looks like I'm gonna try and drop it. 6 mana is the magical number because Rainbow Freet phases out for 2 blue mana, notably.
Yep.
So I mean, he has to either
Nice.
counterspell it or get a bunch removal, which yeah.
All right.
These decks only have a limited number of things that counter spells, so.
Yeah, there's one win con down, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can see what the impulse. I can't see what the impulse for.
It's definitely noticeable you being up 2 cards right now, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that Sabo's Web was not nothing. It was not nothing.
No, not at all. One less disenchant for the back to basics.
Mm-hmm. Or the Future Sight or the Yawgmoth's Agenda. Ooh, and I go for the
Oh,
Capsize. Love it. Love it.
okay.
So this is powerful. Capsize is a bounce spell with a buyback cost. You can just do it over and over again, but it costs a quadrillion mana. But in this situation, neither of us have anything going on. So like, what else am I gonna
Yeah.
do with the 6 mana?
Yeah, I feel like you have to counter this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think he's going for a Factor Fiction here. Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Okay.
Into not counterspell, not counterspell, not counterspell, and not counterspell. All right. You get
I think I saw
impulses
a
or other
counterspell in
things.
his hand.
Oh, that would make me sad,
But
but I don't.
it's
Yeah.
always nice casting a off when your opponent doesn't know if you actually need the counterspell or not, though, because
Word, yeah.
it just feels so good. Like, this forces them to make a bad decision.
Yeah, I like this for me. He took lands instead of
Hmm.
impulses.
Yeah, he's going to be kind of locked on lands here, though, if that
Mm-hmm.
capsize keeps resolving.
Exactly. You're often impulsing for lands anyway, but
Hmm.
now the comments can correct me, but I believe a thing that I like to do with capsize is if it gets countered or I just cast
Ooh,
it, ooh,
okay.
counterspell for the back to
Ah, so
basics.
that's okay. That's smart of him to save the counterspell.
Yeah,
I would have
definitely.
been tempted
That's the
to.
that's the bigger threat. But with
Yeah.
Yawgmoth's Agenda, you can buy it back from your graveyard, and you get to cast capsize from your graveyard and buy it back to your hand, which is pretty sweet.
Hmm. That is sweet.
Because it is notably not flashback. Flashback would stop the buyback, but it is not that. Oh, I've got some counter
Right.
spells. I've got a Yawgmoth's Agenda. This is looking. Oh, he has
Yeah.
3 Mischief Factories though. Oh my goodness, or is it 2?
Oh,
It's 2 or
that's a
3. I
lot.
think it's
Okay.
3. Yeah.
2. I think it's 2.
All right, well, I capsize 1 with the buyback and take 2 less
Yeah, he's kind of
damage.
forced to just go aggro. It just seems like he's not bothering to bluff a counterspell or anything. So if you find something
Mm-hmm.
here, the path is clear.
Yep. So he drops back out the factory. He's cracking for like 4 a turn. Yeah, 2 a turn. He's
To a
stuck on his
turn.
lands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I think the play here is I drew a Factor Fiction. I think the play here is to not back the capsize and then just drop the Factor Fiction to get a big burst
Mm-hmm.
of cards.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that other back to basics. That would be
Yeah, or the other Saba's
huge.
Web. There's 2 Saba's Webs and 2 back to basics.
Okay. All right.
Conversely, if I can get the Yawgmoth's Agenda to stick, I have to wait to the next turn, but I can recast things out of my graveyard, including the back to basics and or the Saba's Web.
Mm-hmm. It's only 1 card per turn. Is that right?
Yeah,
For
yeah. You get Arcane
pushing on
Labs,
that.
so you only
Yep.
get to play 1 spell per turn, but then anything that goes to your graveyard gets exiled. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
think I might be remembering what I actually did, which is casting the Factor Fiction and then going for the Yawgmoth's Agenda next turn after I capsize.
Hmm.
This is an
He is
interesting
on
thought.
triple factory right now.
He is. I feel like
Yeah,
there's not a lot
let's
of value for
see.
this Morphling with that Wrath of God in his hand.
Yeah, the smother might be
Smother has some text on it for
best
sure.
card here.
Probe doesn't do a whole lot when he has 7 in hand. Like these cards are not very
Yeah.
impressive. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, he
Wow.
values the Morphling pretty highly. Wow.
Apparently, yeah. Okay. And then
Hmm.
okay, so I smother a factory. Like it. Yep, that's good. Take 4 going to 9. Interesting. Interesting. He might not have a counter spell and then be afraid of me having a counter spell.
Yeah. Gotta respect Superman even in this
Mm-hmm.
day and age.
Yep. It is not a inconsequential card. So I think I'm sitting at 8, and he's got a plow for the Shadow Mage Infiltrator. And he lets the end step finish up, and I discard a null. So I think it's a pretty heads up play, because if he goes for the counter spell at my end step when I have 8 cards, I can use a counter spell to get down below 7
Mm-hmm.
cards and then not have to discard while also trading with a card of his, which is pretty sweet.
This is true. Yep.
Yep. Basic control mirror card strategy. But
Definitely.
apparently Ben has not learned basic land organization, keeping part of his land base off back camera, I think. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I think all of
I
his
think
factories
it's
on
just
camera.
the two factories over there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking it was a dust bowl, but I'm thinking of last game. All right,
Hmm.
so Shadow Mage is just a wall. Not a very good wall, but it's a wall.
Yeah. Not well. He can make a 3/3 though, so it's not much of a wall. But I guess you still got that capsize in
Exactly.
hand.
Exactly, which is pretty strong. I got my sweet stamped duress, courtesy of Nick Mayo. Shout out
Very
for the
nice.
Massachusetts regional. Double Foff, Disenchant, Plow,
Mm.
Wrath of God, and some lands. Yeah, I mean, I guess I take a
Okay.
Factoration, yeah.
Yeah.
Hot diggity. And then I'm going for Probe with the Kicker on my turn, which is, he might just discard 2 lands, but those lands matter at this point,
It's something. Yeah. You're whittling him down.
Yep, he's going for the Factoration on my turn, which gets counterspelled. Okay. And
All
typically
right.
I would say I'm afraid of being tapped out, but the only spell I really care about from him is Humility, and I have Capsize, so
Sure.
discard some lands
Yeah.
that I don't need.
Capsize.
Probe, new meta.
Very nice.
And he tapped his factories down. Yep.
Okay, you do get the swords
Yep.
Finkel, which
Just
is nice.
fine, yeah. He's down to 3 cards. Like that turn was pretty good for me. Like I'm at
Definitely.
6, but I have like
Yeah, so yeah, that's his only chance here is to go aggro, I guess.
mm-hmm. Like I know you have fond memory of casting Capsize with buyback.
Yeah, preferably with a couple of sapphire medallions in play.
Mm-hmm. Or a Shard Phoenix to come out later on.
Sure, sure. Yeah, capsize and whispers.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I found a
Two of the best
Psychotog.
buyback cards.
Psychotog's a good one. I only have 5 mana though, so I can't capsize with the buyback against this Wrath of God, but that's probably
Gonna
fine.
bring it back to your hand, yeah.
Yeah, I still have the Yawgmoth's Agenda in my hand. Yep. Oh, I got a
Okay.
counterspell. That works too, I guess. Oh, he has the counterspell. Do
Oh, you
I
countered back.
burn?
Okay.
Oh, and I did not burn the capsize. Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, just like that, he's down to
Oh
one
my
card in hand.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I had to cut this a little
okay.
bit because there was so much
Yeah.
searching going on. So Haunting Echo is the spell that exiles your opponent's graveyard, and then you get to get every single card from their hand and library that matches those cards out of them. So Ben has like 6 cards left in his deck at this point. I've taken out all of his factories, all of his counterspells, his plows, his wraths, the nulls, factor
Does he have his
fictions.
decrees left? I don't remember seeing a
I
decree.
don't think he does. I think I made him discard one to a duress.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
he's pretty much all in on these two factories.
yep. Yeah, our viewers can run the tape, but I think I think he's just down to these factories like you said. And I burn the capsize, taking 2, drops it back out. But then I get to do my favorite thing, which is slam this Yawgmoth's Agenda.
The
Oh, I
agenda.
guess I could play
Oh,
back to
and
basics. That's fine too.
okay. Counterbait.
Okay, no, I'll play the Yawgmoth's Agenda. So notably, when you have Yawgmoth's Agenda in play, you want to play that last because that's the only spell you get to cast that
It
turn.
locks you out of, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But you also get to play lands out of your graveyard,
You
which is
can
pretty
play,
sweet.
yeah. Oh, wow. And you can play instants on your
You
opponent's
sure
turn.
can. You sure can. Did you know that capsize with buyback is an instant?
I did indeed.
As such, you can cast it with Yawgmoth's Agenda. And you also can cast impulses out of
Bring
your
it back to your
graveyard on your
hand.
opponent's turn. And you can buy yeah, you can
Amazing.
buy back that impulse, yeah.
Love to see it.
This card's so good. I love it so much.
That's so absurd.
Casual morphling out of the graveyard, like
Yeah. Is that the Japanese foil one too?
yep. I
Or
found that at my
okay.
one of my local game stores. They had it for like $2. I'm like, yeah, I'll snap that up all day
Amazing.
long.
That's crazy.
Snap that up all day long.
Superman is here. Beating
Yep.
down for 5 a turn.
I don't know that it matters that it's morphling. I mean, I'm happy that it's morphling, but I honestly don't think it matters at this point. Ben is he's being a good sport, but I don't think there's anything left that he can do. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Superman is in full on vigilance mode and just
mm-hmm.
owning the game at this point.
Yep. Yeah, like he has a factory, but it gets untapped with the or gets tapped by the back base if he uses it. So not
Mhm.
great. Yeah, just toss out the Rainbow Freight, speed up the clock a little bit. I didn't do my capsize trick. I'm so sorry, viewers. Oh, and then yep, Morphling can
Make it
notably go
fly.
flying. Ooh, the forbid came a little bit too late. Oh no, I didn't hit decree, so
Yeah.
he had a decree left there. Okay.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah, I was thinking I didn't see any of that game.
yeah, and I guess
Damn, that
we
was
did.
unlucky not to hit a single one of those. You only had like 10 cards left in deck.
Yeah, so his density of decrees to deck was pretty high.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow.
Oh man. Takeaways. Duress is a good card. Probe is a
Yeah.
great card in control mirrors. And Yagmoth Agenda is great.
Your deck looks awesome, man. I love what you've done with it. Just like
Thank
you've
you.
hammered out all the one ofs and everything. It just plays really well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a super fun deck to play. Like we have a 1K
Yeah.
coming up locally in a few weeks from now, from date of recording, and I am seriously giving thought to playing the blue black deck as opposed to like another deck that I would want to play instead, like Feb. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
do it, man. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I may. It's such a fun deck. Well, yeah, so that was a cool match. Thank you all for watching, and feel free to like the video if it was cool. Subscribe if you like. I like seeing that number go up. It's fun. And if you want to tell me how awesome my deck is, I'd love to hear it. Or comment on how beautiful Ben's deck is. That's also acceptable too. Um, that's really it. You have any final thoughts on the match, Andy?
No. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.